Ahoy, mateys! Haha! And welcome to another installation of Death Valley Life, where I update everyone who's interested, and even those of you who aren't interested, on what's been going on at my Death Valley compound. Now, the biggest change that I made in the last 24 hours is I totally reconfigured my bedroom. Now, you might not remember, but, well, my bed used to be that way, but I moved it so that the headboard is up against the window. And then I tried to jam and cram all my crazy hats and wigs and stuff. And my vanity over on this side of the room. And then over on this side, I was finally able to put up my ginormous maximalist shrine. That's right, this is my shrine, my altar, if you will. I'm not a spiritual, or I'm certainly not a religious person, but you know, I like to get up every morning and look at pictures of people and things that I care about and, read little affirmations and just take a moment before starting my day. Mr. Rogers, Jesus, St. Anthony, Ganesh. Here's my old dog's name tag that I had to have put down. A little side shrine to my dearly departed dad. Some eucalyptus buttons to remind me of the coastal forests in California. Anyway, I finally got this shrine put up, and yeah, I know you're probably just thinking, oh my god, what a mess, but these kinds of little things are important to me, and, well, not having it set up for these past 6 months, I think really did affect my mood. And aside from finally setting up my shrine, another thing that really changed my mood for the better was just reconfiguring this bedroom. Because ever since I've moved in here, and I've lived here, gosh, almost 6 months now. Can you believe it's almost been 6 months? Well, I never really felt at home in this bedroom. I just felt sort of uncomfortable, like it was somebody else's room. And it got so bad that I actually thought, like, oh, maybe I'm not meant to live out here in Death Valley after all. In fact, some viewers of this channel gave me a business card. This really cool German couple of geocachers called the Manleys gave me their card, and on the back side of it, there's a picture of a trailer that I think they said was near Goldfield, Nevada, and it says, "Home is a place some never find." Well, sadly, I've felt that way about myself more than a few times over the last 6 months. I just felt like, oh gosh, I don't fit in this bedroom. I have too much stuff. It's too hard out here. What did I do? Why did I move out here? Well, I'm pleased to report that I don't feel that way at all anymore. And it really came down to setting up this shrine and rearranging my bedroom. And I think part of that might have had to do with the fact that, well, when I had the bed against the wall here, I was sleeping on the right-hand side of the bed. But when I lived back in Vegas, I always slept on the left-hand side. Well, I guess that's as I'm looking at the bed. I slept on that side in Vegas, but I was sleeping on that side here. And you know how they say, if you're in a bad mood, you got up on the wrong side of the bed? Well, I think there might actually be something to that, because when I reconfigured the room, I swapped back over to the side I'm used to sleeping on, and I think it really did make a difference. Now, you might have noticed in the background, the reason I had to do all this rearranging in the first place was because we finally got a mini split installed, and it only cost us $10,000. But anyway, this was the only wall or place on the wall that they could hang the mini split unit, and so, well, I didn't want to have my bed right there under it, because then I wouldn't have been able to hang on my bed curtains, and so I did all this rearranging, all to accommodate this mini split. And now I know many of you are probably very curious about this mini split, and, well, some of you are probably going, oh god, not again. Well, let me just give you a quick overview of what happened. So we ended up getting a Fujitsu, and we had it installed professionally by a company called Gunnies. And provisionally, it's only been, well, about 12 hours since they installed it, but provisionally I would say they did an excellent job. My sister called around and got a few different quotes, and we had 2 different companies from Pahrump come out here and give us estimates. And I won't say the name of Gunnies competition, but the other HVAC company in Pahrump, neither of us was really impressed with him. Like, the guy just wasn't very friendly, and the quotes that they gave us, like, they weren't even paying attention to what we told them. Gunnies, on the other hand, well, with a name like Gunnies, and they got a big old American flag and I think an eagle on the side of their vans and trucks, they did an awesome job. Now, some of you might have noticed how messy the drywall is underneath the unit. Well, that's why they had to drill through this concrete block wall to run the line set, which is basically this long tube that goes out back to the compressor that I still don't understand how these things work. It's not an air conditioner. It somehow exchanges heat and cold, like exchanges the air from here to other. I'll show you the whole thing. We'll go outside in a minute, but What I was going to say about this is Gunnies, they are coming back in a week to finish sanding and make this look all nice and pretty again. And they're also going to put a little thing on there so we can control these things with our phones, a Wi-Fi app. So that way, you know, if I'm out on the road in the summertime and I'm coming home, well, I can log in and cool the place down, you know, ahead of time so that when I come in, it's not blasting hot in here, which I'm sure it will be very soon. We got this mini split installed not a moment too soon because, well, I'm shooting this on March 25th, I think, and it's already getting hot, man. Spring has sprung. I think it's supposed to be 93 degrees today. Let's take a look at what the thermometer says. Oh, well, first of all, it says it's March 26th, but yeah, 91 degrees outside, and it's only 2 p.m. So it'll probably get even hotter than that. Forecast said 93 today. 91, 93. Either way you split it, it's hot here in Death Valley. How about that? This is a wood cutout one of my viewers made me. And at first when I got it, I was like, what is that? It almost looks like the state of California, but it's not. Like, I couldn't recognize the shape, and then I thought about it, and, well, it's Death Valley. And you can kind of tell because that little corner there is the tiny little piece of Death Valley that goes into Nevada. This is the California-Nevada state line. There's a little corner of Death Valley in Nevada. Anyway, yeah, this mini split came just in time. It cost $10,000, and that's because, well, we didn't just get that one little unit in my bedroom. We also got one in here, and this is a bigger unit. I can't remember the numbers on these. My sister's better than I am. But there's one in here, one in my bedroom, and then there's one in the office. That's our newest mannequin, by the way. Got another mannequin. Unfortunately, it came without a head, so I had to put that creepy crying baby's head on it. Just for something. Something's better than nothing. But there's the other mini split unit there. So 3 units, 1, 2, 3, plus all that line set they had to run to connect it to the compressor, which I'm going to go show you outside right now. Well, it was $10,000. Guess I'm going to have to start making more videos. And I know a lot of you watching this are probably thinking, why did you pay a company $10,000 to do this job when you could have just had your electrician friend Terry do it for cheap? Well, I don't know. My sister priced it all out, and to buy the brand of units that we wanted, and by the time you buy all the line set and everything, it was going to be like $7,000 in parts. And then, yeah, sure, Terry could have installed it for us, but, well, if something goes wrong with the dang thing in the middle of summer and Terry's off surfing somewhere in Southeast Asia, how are we going to fix it? This way, well, the company's just down the road in Pahrump. If something goes wrong, we can call them. The units have a 12-year warranty, Fujitsu, so I don't know. Yeah, it was a lot of money, but in the end, I feel like it was money well spent, and it's certainly something we're going to need. Okay, so you can see here this metal duct is, well, it's a cover for the line set pipe. I guess that's where the condensation runs out. But that, at the joint there, is where it goes through the wall and into the, well, I still don't know what they're called, the unit that's inside the house. And then the line set runs all the way around the exterior of the house. Doo 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 doo. There's the one that goes into my bedroom. Doo 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 doo. All the way over the old water heater shed. Doo 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 doo. Over here to the compressor. This is what $10,000 buys you now. We'll see how good it works out, man. And then here's the electrical box that our friend Terry wired for us. Put in a 30 amp breaker specifically for our future installation of this mini split. Now, I know a lot of you probably aren't that interested in this, but I'm going to show you anyways. And I'm going to get 1,000 emails from people saying, you better, you know, make sure this stuff's covered better in the desert heat. I mean, there is insulation on this. I don't know. Look on the other side. And they did tell us we're supposed to clean the backside of this, I think once, twice a year to keep it free of dust. Because Lord knows, it does get dusty out here. Oh, you can hear the wind starting to kick up already. It is supposed to get kind of windy later today, which is why I wanted to shoot this video earlier in the day. I just didn't get around to it because, gosh, being outdoors in this wind really isn't, well, it's not much fun at all. Although I do have a funny story to share with you. Hold on, let me just steady this. Wind is blowing this garbage can. It's making a lot of noise. Quiet, Oscar. Anyway, it's been real windy lately, okay? And my sister and I have been wanting to have a ceremonial bonfire where we burn some, you know, things that were meaningful to us, or, well, she had some old bank statements she wanted to burn. I had a bunch of old I had a bunch of old nude posters I wanted to burn, okay? I used to work, I'm sure you know by now, I used to work as a nude model. For 10 years, I worked as a nude model in Vegas. And I met a lot of really cool people and I had a lot of really good experiences doing that. But I'm ready to leave that phase of my life behind me. And well, this one photographer that I shot with, I worked with this guy a bunch of times and he's since passed away, so I feel like I can tell this story and not hurt his feelings, but he wasn't a very good photographer. He was the classic, I hate to say dirty old man, because he had a camera and he had lights and everything, and he took decent photos, but he wasn't really as much a photographer as he was a guy who just liked taking naked photos of attractive women. But he would hire me all the time. I'd come over to his house, he'd pay me $100 for 1 hour of posing, and he would usually have some kind of prop for me to work with. Like one time he had a big picture frame, then for me to like hold up and do poses with. One time he had a bunch of autumn leaves. One time he had like a fur rug. Like he would just have some prop, and then okay, I'd have to pose for 1 hour and come up with all these different poses with this prop. And yeah, it did get kind of tiresome. I'm not gonna lie, but I needed money at the time. That's how I was making my living. So $100 for an hour's work, sure, I would drive over there to his house and go do it. Well, one time I went over there and he opened the door, and he always liked to drink Captain and Coke, okay? He always had a Captain and Coke. And he would always ask me if I wanted one too. And most of the time I'd take him up on it just because it made the shoot go faster. Anyway, he opened the door and he goes, probably had his Captain and Coke in hand. Hey, listen, instead of paying you $100 this time, would you mind if I just traded you a bunch of posters? He said he had a bunch of posters made up, and I have them right here, nude posters of me, that he would give me this box of them in exchange for an hour's worth of shooting, and then that way I could sell the posters on my own and make the money I would have made posing for him. Because he said times were tough for him right now. His wife was going through cancer treatments, and so they had a lot of bills, and so he was wondering if I wouldn't just do a trade for these posters. And I really didn't want to. I felt bad for him that times were tough, but hey, guess what? Times were tough for me too, and I can't send nude posters to Verizon to pay my cell phone bill. I don't think they're going to accept that as payment. But I'm a nice person, and so I said, okay, sure. So I did the friggin' hour of whatever cheesy prop he had for me to pose with. Probably had 3 Captain and Cokes. And then he gave me this box of posters, and well, I had to doctor a few of them so I could show them on YouTube. There's one. Oh, here's one from, he had this Dracula cape, this really cheesy costume Dracula cape he wanted me to pose with. And then, every now and then he would splurge. Like, I don't know if he got like a social security check or something. He would hire 2 models at once. So here's me and my beautiful friend, Miss Jill Voss. You might recognize her from my 6 models, 1 RV road trip video. He hired us to pose together once, and so that was us. Anyway, we've had all these posters sitting here staged for this ceremonial bonfire. Kind of just jammed into this milk crate here on the front porch. And then there's also some papers underneath, like my sister's old bank statements and 401k papers and stuff like that. Well, we had it all just stashed there for the time that we would get around to having this bonfire. Well, one day it was really windy, like it gets out here, and me and my sister had to go out and run some errands. Oh, I'm gonna go in the shade. It's so friggin' hot. See what I mean? We don't have any shade on this porch. It's a bad situation. If there's any carpenters watching, call me. We're happy to pay for a nice, solid porch. Anyway, it was real windy one day, and my sister and I went to run some errands, and we came back up the driveway, and we noticed that nude posters and bank statements were blowing all over the yard. Now, thankfully, the compound has a chain link fence around it, so it contained most of the damage, but not all of it. Oh my gosh. We did see a few blowing around outside, so we had to run and chase them down, and well, it took us a while, but we thought we had gotten everything. Come to find out we hadn't, because I don't know, 4 or 5 days later, my sister was walking through the desert out here in the evening, and she came upon a naked photo of me and Jill, and one of her bank statements with her social security number on it. Yikes! Talk about a rookie move. Anyway, we secured all the posters and bank statements after that. We put them in the barn here and that thing, and well, we finally did have our little ceremonial bonfire, and it was actually really cool. My sister did a ceremony kind of like she did at the summer solstice last summer. because it actually happened to be the spring equinox the day we did it. I think it was like the full moon and the spring equinox. So we had this whole like crazy bonfire. We had some friends over and we burned all our bank statements. We burned all my nude photos. And it was weirdly cathartic to see my nude self dissolving into flames, you know? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. A rose will bloom and then will fade. So dies the youth, so dies the fairest maid. So we had that whole thing with the nude posters and the bank statements, and you'd think we would have learned our lesson. But guess what happened? Well, my sister and Terry were working on rewiring this building here. This is one of our storage buildings, and it's the one that has the basement bunker in it. Well, Terry was rewiring it with the help of my sister, and so they had to move everything out from inside it and stack it up outside here. But one of the things that was out there happened to be this poster here, this almost life-size poster of me. It was at this art festival that I did once, where I did this like performance art piece as a character called the Electric Vagina. And I plugged in this power drill with a really long concrete drill bit and an American flag waving at the top of it. And, well, they had this stacked up outside too with all the other stuff. And it was stacked behind a big piece of plywood and a bunch of other heavy stuff kind of holding it down. But, well, I guess it wasn't holding it down good enough because, well, I was in the kitchen looking out the window, just looking at the desert and watching the wind. It was real windy that day, blasting the sand across. I mean, it's really exceptional just when you're in the safety of the house to watch these desert sandstorms come raging across the open desert right behind our house. Oh, let me open this door. It's hot in here. I'll just use this old pickaxe to hold the door open. Hopefully it works. Anyway, I was standing at the kitchen watching the sand blow across the desert, and I saw what looked like a billboard tumbling across the sand dunes. And I thought, I even said to Terry was sitting there, I go, wow, looks like somebody lost a billboard. It sure is windy today. And then later that afternoon, I mentioned to my sister, we were talking about how windy it was. I go, yeah, this morning I saw looked like a billboard blowing across the desert. And she looked over to where all this stuff was stacked and went, oh no, I think that was your electric vagina. Not again. This time though, I mean, we went out there and she went straight to the same place where she found the nudies and the bank statements before. I guess there's this one sort of depression out there amongst the dunes where stuff sort of collects. And sure as sugar, that's where my electric vagina was. None the worse for wear, really. I mean, yeah, I got a few dents and dings in the side of it. But I ask you, whose electric vagina doesn't have a lot of dents and dings in it after all these years? Okay, I better stop talking about my electric vagina or they'll demonetize this video. And besides, I don't want everyone to get bored because, well, there's one more art project that I've been working on, and that's the one that I think most people will be interested in. And that regards the bunker. Okay, you might remember from the last vlog I made that when we kind of organized this storage building and freed up some space, we were able to open this trapdoor that leads down into this subterranean basement room. Turn the light on here. And it's a really cool little room, literally, because it stays about 15 degrees cooler than outside. Matter of fact, there's a thermometer down here. Let's see what it says. It says 73 degrees. Wow, and the thing upstairs said it was 91 outside, so that's almost 20 degrees cooler down here. And it feels amazing, I'm not gonna lie, it's noticeably cooler. So anyway, I think I might have said in my last vlog that I was considering turning this basement bunker into my satellite office, like my operations center. Since my sister moved into the casita, our little granny unit, and she actually did a really nice job making it very cozy for herself, even though, yeah, it is in rough shape and it does need to be almost completely rebuilt. I think it'll do for now, and it's really good for her to just have her own private space. And I'm not gonna lie, when she booted me out, because I was using that little casita as my satellite office, when she kicked me out and then I saw how she fixed it all up and put her desk in there, I was pretty jealous. Like, oh, all I want is a quiet place where I can go work. Because when I'm editing videos, I like it to be totally silent because I'm easily distracted, you know? Well, we've had so many visitors at the compound over the last few weeks. I mean, we had house guests every single day for, I think, about 2 weeks. And so a lot of the time they were all talking and laughing and drinking, and it was really hard for me to find a place to go where I could work in peace and quiet. And so I saw my sister fix up that little office for herself, and well, I was pretty jealous until I decided to make this basement bunker my new satellite office. And at first I did think it was kind of grim and depressing. You might remember from last time, there were shelves in here, like shelves going across both walls. Well, our friend who was staying with us helped us tear those out. And now it just kind of has the look of an interrogation room or I don't know, jail cell. But that's only if you have no imagination. So I was sitting down here trying to think, well, what can I do to this space to make it more cheerful and pleasant to use as an office? Well, okay, first things first, I can paint the walls a brighter color, paint them white or something, and that might freshen things up. And then I thought, oh, maybe I should put a fake window on the wall, a fake window with an LED light behind it so it looks like there's a window looking out on the outside. And then I thought, well, why just make it a fake window? I could put some weird landscape behind it, like dragons and stuff. And then I thought, well, why limit myself to land? I'm below decks here. Why not turn this into a submarine? Ahoy, matey! You're probably wondering why I was wearing this nautical getup to begin with. Well, that's because I'm in full-on submarine mode. I got these awesome portholes on eBay. I got 3 of them, and they actually do open. There's glass in them, or I guess acrylic, which is better. So I'm gonna hang these portholes on the wall here. I'm gonna do like 1, 2, 3, and then I'll paint some kind of crazy like psychedelic ocean scene behind them, like mermaids and King Neptune and weird fish and stuff. And I might even try to figure out a way to make it look like there's really water behind it. I'm not sure how I'll do that, but I'll figure out a way. But I'm gonna turn this little basement bunker into my Death Valley submarine. That's right, the USS Wonderhussy. All aboard! Oh wait. That's right, I went around the house and tried to round up any kind of nautical stuff I could find. I mean, I got this welcome aboard life preserve. This painting actually happened to already be down here, and it's kind of a cool old-fashioned painting of the ocean. And then this plate was in here too. The guy left this behind. Look how cool that is, old ship. And then this wooden fish we found down in the Quonset, he left that behind. That's kind of cool, like Moby Dick. Somebody once sent me this Victorian traveling sextant. I guess you don't really need a sextant in a submarine, but that's kind of steampunk and cool. Because yeah, when I hit on the idea of turning this into a submarine, my first thought was like, oh, okay, well, it has this kind of grungy military sub vibe. Like, I could just decorate it like Das Boot, if you remember that German movie, Das Boot. Those dudes are stuck in that submarine. Well, that's not very cozy, though. If I'm going to be spending time down here editing, I want it to feel more comfortable than a friggin' military submarine. So then I thought, well, what other submarine direction could I go in? Oh, well, I could go yellow submarine. Like the Beatles movie. Love that movie. Love the Beatles, love psychedelia. But I don't know what, like paint these walls yellow. It just seems like it might feel kind of hot down here in the summertime, which I'm sure it's still gonna be hot down here. I mean, if it's 20 degrees cooler down here right now, and it gets to be 125, which it does, it'll still be 105 down here. But yellow walls would just make it seem even worse. And when I looked online, there really aren't very many options for yellow submarine decor. So then I hit on the idea of, well, what about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, okay? Remember 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Jules Verne? The Nautilus and Captain Nemo? Well, you can pause the video and look up images of that right now if you like. It's badass. It's basically like Victorian steampunk. And so that's the motif I'm gonna try to go with. I put this, I rounded up everything that looked kind of like Victorian-ish steamboat that I could find in the house, and there's probably still more up there. And in fact, we have a bunch of old wooden furniture in the Quonset hut, so I'm gonna bring some shelves down here. I guess I'm gonna do the walls. Well, I'm gonna hang those portholes up there, and then I have some really cool red drapes with gold tassels to match that pillow. I'll hang that up. I don't know what to do about the floor. It's bare concrete. I think I just need to go to some thrift stores and find some really cool old like Oriental rugs or fake Oriental rugs and lay something like that down, because I don't want to mess with actually having to put flooring in. I'm trying to do this on the cheap, believe it or not. And then eventually, even though this bare light bulb does kind of give it a submarine vibe, or maybe more of an interrogation room vibe, I think a chandelier would be really cool there. So that's my plan, and it's gonna take a while because, Well, the first thing I did, I went and we cleaned it out. Like I showed in the other video, we found that old-fashioned cell phone down here. We found a few fans, a couple of odds and ends. I cleaned all that out. My friend helped me rip the shelves out. And then I went around, I scraped all the paint was flaking. I tried to scrub all the stains off of the walls, but I mean, you can see where the shelves were. Those brown lines is where the shelves were. And it looked like something did leak down here. I'm not sure from what, something from upstairs, I guess, because it hardly ever rains here. But apparently whatever it was leaked enough to cause some pretty good damage to the cinder blocks down here. And at first I thought it was mold, and it probably might look like mold to you, but if I zoom in, or just get real close, I don't think it's mold. I went in with a mask on the other day and chiseled it, like the paint had just sort of bubbled up here. And I don't know, doesn't look like mold to me. Ugh. Either way, I better wash my hands thoroughly after being down here. So anyway, yeah, I cleaned off the walls as best as I could. I sealed up every crack with either, well, caulk or Great Stuff. You know that Great Stuff expanding spray foam? Only my dumb self didn't wear gloves when I did it. I go, oh, I'm just gonna be filling a few gaps. Oh my God, if you've ever gotten that stuff on your hands, and it was all over my hands, well then you feel my pain. My hands were covered in it and there's no way to get it off, like nothing will dissolve it. I mean, if you catch it while it's still wet, yeah, I guess acetone would work, but it was dry, man. And so the only thing I could do was I tried sanding my hands with sandpaper. I had to wait. I just had to let time and the oils from my skin secrete and slough it off. And gosh, it was rough for a few days. I couldn't even, you know how you use your fingerprint to open your phone? My phone didn't even recognize my fingerprint. Thankfully, that's all pretty much back to normal. My phone recognizes my fingerprint again. And I will never use Great Stuff without wearing gloves again. So anyway, I got some primer standing by there. I'm gonna prime all the walls and the ceiling and then figure out what color I wanna paint them. I think I might do the ceiling kind of like a fake bronze or some kind of metallic. And then I have some old paper tubes from like wrapping paper and stuff that I'll make like fake pipes. You know, like in a submarine. And then I got all these decorative little brass tacks that have really cool finishes on them. And I can tap those in to look like rivets, you know, alongside the pipes. I'm pretty crafty and creative when it comes to stuff like this. And well, I haven't had a project to fire me up like this in quite some time. Oh, another thing I've been doing down here is, well, it's very important to purify this space. If I'm gonna be spending all this time down here, I got this Reiki candle that one of my viewers sent me. Well, I've been using it for a while, so you might not be able to see, but it's a really beautiful, sparkly purple Reiki candle made by this, well, I guess she's called Nature's Way Reiki. Oh my God, and it smells amazing. She actually sent me a really cool package of a couple candles. I gave one to my sister to purify her casita, and a bunch of beautiful Reiki soaps. Okay, you're probably wondering what Reiki is. Well, it's a new age thing where you can, I don't actually even understand what it is, but you can basically put positive energy into stuff, I guess. But unfortunately, I'm not sure Reiki is enough to really make this space safe, because I posted a picture on Facebook the other day of me hard at work down in my little submarine bunker. I was sitting here editing, believe it or not, because the house was full of visitors and they were all making noise and I couldn't go to the casita anymore. So I came down here, I set up my old camp table and this old desk chair and posted a picture of myself online, and everybody goes, oh, well, that's really cool, but I hope you get the place tested for mold first, you know, and for radon. I wouldn't have even thought of getting it tested for radon, but apparently that's a concern in the West, I guess. Anyway, I don't think that's mold. And then over here on this wall, you can see there is some kind of water, or was some kind of water damage, is water damage. And I don't know what's behind these panels. I mean, you can see up there, there's the cinder block wall is like right behind this, but there's a very shallow void behind it. So I suppose there might be mold growing in there. So I feel like I should probably get a mold testing kit and a radon testing kit before I go to town painting and decorating this thing with oriental rugs and chandeliers, if you know what I mean. Because I don't want my lungs to be infiltrated by the insidious tentacles of some toxic mold spores. Blah. Ah. Found this in my office, and well, I thought this would be a fine addition to the submarine bunker. In fact, I'll put it right on top of this bell. Isn't that what got Captain Nemo in the end? There was a giant squid that was like his nemesis. Believe it or not, I haven't actually seen or read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, so I'm kind of talking out of my you-know-what. But I'll figure it out, and I know I will, and this is going to be... I know this is kind of a strong statement, but I feel pretty confident that this will be the coolest submarine in all of Death Valley. Am I right? I can't imagine that I have much competition. I have never heard of any other submarines in Death Valley. I don't know if any exist, but man, can you imagine how cool it'll be once I have it all set up and I put my backdrop and my lights down there and I mean, the Wi-Fi is pretty good down there. I could even potentially live stream from my Death Valley submarine. Art Bell, eat your heart out.